Welcome to our cooking show. We are going to represent Buell and Downing. I am the social media assistant for Buell, and my name is Shannon.
And I am Antonio, the social media assistant of Downing Hall.
To start off, we are going to make cheese Greek pie.
It's also known as Tiropita. It's a very traditional Greek dish, and it being very easy, we decided to start off with making that because somebody can very easily make it within the kitchen of the residence halls.
We're going to start off by listing the ingredients. So we have the lovely flour. You're going to need some ricotta cheese, some crumbled feta cheese, and a block of feta cheese, as well as eggs, extra virgin olive oil, and a stick of butter.
Moving on to the materials, first you're going to need a rolling pin, a cooking knife, a whisk, something to spread the butter with on the pan, measuring cups, and measuring spoons, of course a mixing bowl,
and a lovely pan.
So at first we're going to use about 2.5 cups of flour to make the dough for the pie.
And the dough takes about 30 minutes, correct, to
Mm-hmm.
make? Oh yeah, and you also need to preheat your oven to
350.
350. 2.5 cups or?
2.5.
2.5 cups of flour you need.
So what you need to do in here is when you put the flour in, you're going to want to make something that looks sort of like a volcano. So when you put the water in, the flour mixes evenly from all the sides. So you need to start adding water really slowly. And as you go, you'll notice that it's going to get pretty dry, and that's why you need to be adding water. Because if it gets really, really dry, it's going to be sort of like a pizza or a bread dough, and you don't want it to be like that. And when you see it to actually start forming a homogeneous mixture, you can actually use your hands for this. I have washed my hands, so at this point I should start using my hands. And basically what you do is you pretty much just play with it like this until it gets all in like one big ball of dough. It's going to be sticky in the beginning because of the water, but you want to make sure you get all the flour around from all the sides. And now that it's pretty much ready, you just go like this. You don't need to make a lot of dough because basically this is going to be used for the top layer of the pie and the bottom layer of the pie. And we can let this stand on a plate. We can even put it on the bowl, actually, on this bowl. So now what we need to do with this is we just let it stay for about 30 minutes in here. Now we're going to make the actual mix that goes inside the pie. So for this, we will need 2 eggs in the beginning. 2 eggs. Now we're going to need one of the crumbled feta cheese. You can put it in there, and then you can start mixing it slowly with the whisk. And when you're mixing it, you need to be, just don't do it very vigorously. Just do it pretty slowly. So now I'm going to add one more of those packets again, 6 ounces of crumbled feta cheese. Scrape the ricotta cheese off and just throw it in there. So what you do want to make sure though is you don't want the egg flavor to exceed the flavor of the cheese in the pie. An egg actually, when you put something in that, when you put egg in a dish you're making, it has a pretty strong flavor. So at this point we would add a little more feta cheese, the crumbled, please. Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome, Antonios. Do you eventually use all 4?
Yes. But you need to be adding them slowly and making sure that this is a uniform mix, because we're gonna spread this out in the entire pan. Okay. We want it to be, rich pie. All right, could you please add that crumbled feta cheese as well? Thank you. For it to get a stronger flavor, usually the crumbled feta cheese, when they crumble it, it becomes very dry and the flavor is not as strong as you would get in like a block of feta cheese. So we're gonna cut the block in half and add half of it to this. Okay, that's perfect.
Perfect? Okay, so I just took exactly half. I just
exactly
cut that.
half. And our mix is pretty much ready. Keep it somewhere where it's cool until the dough is ready and until the oven, of course, is ready as well. So now that our dough is pretty much settled, warmed up, what we're going to do is separate it into two and make the bottom and the top layer for our pie. But at first, we need to spread some flour on the table. So what you do is you take whatever you had and you just make two of them. Make sure it has flour on it so that it doesn't become sticky. And after this, you're going to take all the flour out because again, you don't want it to become very dry. And you take the rolling pin, start rolling. While you're rolling, parts of it will be exposed, so it'll become a little more wet, so you need to put flour back in here until you can start rolling again. And what you want to do, if Shannon, could you please bring me the pan?
Sure, Antonio.
Thank you. What you want to do is you sort of want to give it something like a rectangular shape, more or less. It doesn't have to be perfect yet. You want to open it as much as you can in a rectangular sort of way, and then it becomes very flexible and easy to handle. The dough is very, very thin and very flexible, very easy to handle. So once you have this is the interesting part. I really like this part. So when you have this, you now need to take you take this one off of here, and now we're gonna melt the butter. And what we're gonna do now is, now that your spatula is pretty oily, what we're gonna do is spread it on this entire thing, just like that. Don't overdo it, because you don't want it to be like, you know, oily, because this is gonna be the dough, so it still needs to be light. And for this, you can also use olive oil, but butter for this is pretty good when it's melted. It has some sort of a little sweeter flavor. So now we take this, and since the side is a little smaller, we're folding it like this, just once. And now we're gonna do olive oil instead. 1/4 of a cup, you could say. And you take this, and in the same fashion, you apply it. This time only on one side, because olive oil, you don't want to go too much with it. Only on one side of the rectangle. And then, guess what? You fold it again. And now the third one is going to be butter. Again, only on one side this time. And now you fold it again. And the last one, tiny amount of oil. Just one scoop on one side. And you fold it again. Now this, we're going to let in the corner, and it will be later spread open to make our crust layer, popcorn crust layer.
Do you repeat this to the other one?
And now we repeat exactly the same to the other ones. Again, if you compare it to our pan, it's bigger, so that's good. That means it can be used for the bottom layer. And now this one is ready as well.
Yay!
Let's start with this one.
Okay.
So this is our bottom layer. You always start from this. And then now we're going to just roll it out again. And you'll notice it's way easier to roll. And it rolls in a much more uniform fashion because we made it into a rectangle and we folded it so many times. Alright, let's see what this looks like. Alright, that's pretty good.
So when in doubt, use your pan as a guesstimate.
Yep, when in doubt, use your pan as sort of, a guesstimate. I've used eyeballing many times. That actually works. Now the thing is, when you apply it on the pan, you want it to touch the walls, so you're sure that you have something to cover the top layer. Because when you actually put the top layer, you want something to cover it, and that'll be nice to have. Now we have a little extra. We can just use it here. And this is how we're going to apply it.
Okay.
We take like a little scoop, and you start from the corners. and you press it down like this. So it's nice and uniform. So again, start with the corners.
So what would you say the prep time would be? About 30 minutes?
The prep time for this is 30 minutes, and then the baking, it's about hour to an hour and a half. Basically, if you have a low temperature, like 350 is actually pretty good. You don't put it all the way up to like 400 or 500, because then that'll just be too hot. And you want the pie to bake slowly and consistently. You don't want to have very high oven settings, because then the bottom and the top part of the pie will bake, but the middle part will not be warm enough. And you know, it's really good to cook your egg thoroughly, because remember, we added 2 eggs in this, and we want to have them fully cooked before we serve it. So now we just spread it, and you want to make sure that it's all uniform and nice. We are going to open up our top layer. So again, flour here. This is going to be way easier to make because, you know, top layer is a little smaller, I would say, than the bottom layer. So all you need to care about is covering this area. And even if it doesn't cover it with a little bit, parts of the dough here go over that, cover it up, and it's all good. But again, you want to work in making a rectangle and spreading it out both ways. Like this. If you could. Thank you so much, Shannon.
I'm such a good coworker.
You're such a good coworker. And now what you do is you slightly press it with your hands, like this.
Now what about the edges? So it all
settles down. This is the best part, because actually this is my favorite part of the pie, because I like bread. The edges, you just roll them down like this. So you can do this too. Just roll down the edges, and I'll do this side. And make sure that the pie is closed, and the filling is not coming out. Now, before you actually put the pie in the oven, what you need to do for it to not crack when you actually start cutting the pie to eat it is slightly, I would say, pre-cut it. You don't go all the way through, but you want to do this because when the pie is going to be baking, it's also going to be expanding.
So you don't
want it to explode.
Yeah, and you don't want it to cut it where actually the filling is coming out. So you should be able to not see any filling on your knife.
You feel it. When you cut with a knife, you feel how deep it is going. Just don't put it all the way down to the bottom of the pan. And now you cut it both vertical and horizontal. And now it is ready. We can insert this in the oven. Yep.
And then we're going to serve the oven, or put it in the oven. Okay, I'm putting it in.
And now you carefully close the oven. And now you bake for 1 hour, 30 minutes.
Finally, after a long wait, we can finally taste the pie. I'm so excited.
We are back, and hopefully the pie turned out good.
Yes.
It's been about an hour and 15 minutes. The pie looks just like it should look. It's gotta kind of have that golden orange-ish color. And as you can see, it still remained intact in terms of, like, you know, the pieces that we cut it out as. Pretty crispy.
It looks yummy.
Which is really good, and it's still following the pattern that we cut it at.
As you can see, half our pie is gone, so it's that good. But just to reassure you guys, we have some residents here, representing Buell right here, representing Hoyt, and just representing EMU. They're gonna try it, and you can see their instant reaction. So, try it.
Go ahead.
He's eating.
You guys are fighting over it.
Oh.
You could it's even finger food. It might be too warm, I don't know.
Hot.
Oh my god!
He said it's hot. He said, oh. But it is good.
Now next time, I'm going to cook you my famous breakfast casserole. So, it'll be very yummy, and stay tuned.
Yep, stay tuned for more.
Woohoo!
Thank you.
Thank you! Bye, Buell and Downey, the residents. Thank you for watching, and other residents from EMU.
See you guys.